Wonderful. We're just continuing in the story of the man who was born blind, who Jesus healed in John chapter 9. So this one I've titled The Power of the Simple Testimony, or the raw power of the simple, honest truth. So this man has been healed. Wonder of wonders. Praise be to God. Let's rejoice and let's stare and wonder at what God has done here. Let's glory in what God has done in this man's life. Surely this is the talk of the town now. And let's read what happens, a response. So John chapter 9, we're looking at verse 8 to 12. The neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar were saying, "Is this not the man who used to sit and beg?" Some said, "It is he." Others said, "No, but he is like him." But he kept saying, "I am the man." So they said to him, "Then how were your eyes opened?" And he answered, "The man called Jesus made mud and anointed my eyes and said to me, 'Go to Siloam and wash.' So I went and washed and received my sight." They said to him, "Where is he?" And he said, "I do not know." Isn't this wonderful? Just a simple explanation of what happened. And now we're going to look at the response of the town, of the people, of his neighbors, of his family. So he's the subject of much scrutiny after this miracle. There's probably been much rejoicing, but there's also much scrutiny. What actually has happened here? His neighbors say. We need to be sure about what's happened in this man's life before we can really rejoice. So he gets invited to tell his version of events, which is a wonderful opportunity to give an explanation of the hope that we have. This man knows who did it, Jesus. But of course, he never actually saw Jesus. Jesus walked off, or he was sent away to the pool where he got a sight, and he doesn't know where Jesus got to. He just knows his voice. That's all. He knows his name and his voice. So in verse 8, the whole town stirs to this marvelous miracle. The neighbors and those who had seen him before. So pretty much he's lived there all his life. He's a man now, so he's lived there for, 10, 20, 30 years. He's been begging all this time. And he's now the talk of the town. Up to this point, no one's really bothered with him. They've just seen him as a problem in the town. You've got to give him food, you've got to help him. There's that guy. You've got to help him again. And now he's the talk of the town for a different reason. And the town, his neighbors included, they want to get to the facts. They want to get the facts correct. What happened to this person who was blind, who was sitting as a beggar all his life, for all those many decades, and now suddenly he's upright, he's clean, he's tidy, he doesn't seem to be himself anymore, and he can see. Wonder of wonders. Is he the same person? Is he the same person that we've known all along, that we've been helping? Has he tricked us? Or is this real? And sometimes establishing the facts allows everyone to believe and also to admit the power of what God has done without any trace of doubt. So facts are wonderful things. God's miracles need not fear any scrutiny. They stand the test of time. They stand the test of having a light shone at them. They are performed in public, not in some dark alley. And that's why we do things in a crowd, in a local church. We pray for people. We look forward to them being healed. It's not done in some dark alley, in some room by the side. There's no money exchange. It's all God's power. It's for free. God's healing and his mercy is for free. So Jesus often encouraged people after they'd been healed. You read the other encounters in the Bible. He encouraged them to go to the temple to establish the fact that this person had been healed, for their own confidence, for their own, the confidence of their own faith, and to verify in front of a public body that this healing had taken place. And this was to draw a wide line under it. So if you've been healed, you have been healed, and you can rest assured, you can go with confidence. And this man needed no other confidence. He could see with his eyes. He knew that something had changed. He was blind, and now he could see. So this healing caused a stir in the city. Was not this the man who sat and begged? That's what people were asking. He used to sit and beg. Is this still the same man? Everyone knew of his begging, as he couldn't care for himself. So he was obviously a great burden on that society. But he had grown up, and he had become unashamed to accept the help that they had given him. He was unashamed to beg. He just asked. He asked for everything. He had nothing. He could do nothing for himself, and he just asked. So helpless was the situation. So helpless that he could accept help from a stranger, little knowing that he would actually receive his sight from the stranger. The only thing that we should be ashamed of is our sin. Our own sin. Let me just clarify. Because he was widely known and looked down on, he was widely helped by all. Everyone must have had a chance to help this man. Everyone must have given him their leftover food, or given him clothing, or helped him to go to the doctors, or whatever. He must have been known by everyone in the society. That man who was blind, that beggar on that street, and maybe people avoided that area for that reason. And because of this, the miracle is more widely published, because everyone knew who he was, where he was, what he stood for. And now he's a different man, and there's a change. It's like a building in the town has been knocked down. Everyone's become used to this man being in that certain corner, or wherever he used to sit, begging. And now he's no longer in that situation, but he's walking. And it's like the scenery, the entire atmosphere of the town has changed. There's something different about this man. And the more witnesses, the better. The more voices confirming it, the more voices asking about it, the greater the confirmation, the firmer the story. Truth worries not about being found out. It wants to be known. So verse 9. Some people said, "It is he." Others said, "No, but he is like that person who used to beg." And the man kept on saying, "It is me. I am the man. I am the man." Disputes arose. He is the man. He isn't. He might be. He can't be. He should be. And there was this voice, one voice throughout all of the clangor. I am the man. I'm not like the man. I am the man. I'm different, but I am the man. The man declares and owns himself. He owns his past. I was that man. He owns his present. I am this man. I am the man. I'm the man who was blind, but I'm the man who can see. I own this miracle. I am he. I am the man. It seemed that he had been gossiped about. People were obviously saying, "Oh, that guy maybe he's tricked us all these years," or, "Is it real? Is he the man?" And maybe there's an argument, and he just comes up and, "I am the man." Put an end to all that dispute. And we must not be afraid of the stir and the debate that any miracle in our lives cause. Let the facts establish and uphold the stories. Let things be plain. Let them talk for themselves. In verse 10, there's this wonderful opportunity. So they say to him, "Then how were your eyes opened?" And this is beautiful. He hadn't up to that point probably thought, "Oh, I need to tell people about Jesus. I need to tell them whatever this." He didn't have it as a category in his mind. And yet people ask him, "What happened? Tell us. Give us an explanation." And that's beautiful. That's a beautiful situation to be in, when people are asking you, "Tell us. What must we do? How can we be saved? Who is this Jesus?" And testimonies are our own stories. They can be best told by ourselves, by you and I. We can tell our stories in our own words. They are indisputable, for no one can tell you that you didn't experienced that, who didn't have that happen to you. You had the front row seat for what was happening in your own life. And isn't that a powerful thing? Testimonies are so powerful. No one can actually come against them. It is a story of what God has done for you. But it's important to have your own words and not to be pressured into making it sound more complicated than it is, or try and add Christianese and try and make it sound more spiritual than it is. We'll see just now how simple this man told, how simply he told his testimony. You don't have to rehearse your testimony, just tell it as it happened to you. Just tell it in an earthy, honest, and genuine way. People want the genuine truth. They don't want something that's been rehearsed and polished and extra words added and maybe verses here to make it sound better, or some other some other angle on it. Just tell your story as it is, and let this be a great release to people, just to take their stories, their testimonies, and just tell people. You don't have to get it perfect. Just tell people your story. That is a perfect story, is the story that comes from your mouth. That's simple, it's factual, and it's earthy. Miracles and our testimonies are there to glorify God. They are a triumph of His grace, to be placed as lights to shine before all men. So what does he answer in verse 11? He answered, the man called Jesus made mud and anointed my eyes and said to me, go to Siloam and wash. So I went and washed and received my sight. What a wonderful, simple testimony. Beautiful. Jesus did it. He told me to wash. I went and washed, and I came back healed. So simple. Often overly complicated, overly rehearsed testimonies can come across as a little bit fake, a little bit, that can't be real, that's not right. Just tell people what happened, like this man did. Use your own language. As I said before, don't use Christianese. Don't try and make it sound more Christian than it is. This man gave a perfect explanation. Jesus did it. What more gospel focus can you get than that? That's beautiful. Jesus did it. And that's all we need to say. Jesus did it. And what did he do? He did X, Y, Z. He took mud, he put some spit in the soil, made some mud, sent me to the pool, and I came back healed. Facts are enough. When you tell stories, facts, the truth is enough. And it's wonderful how what Jesus did was just so simple. He didn't use any fancy words. He didn't use any funny techniques. Maybe it was a little bit funny, but it was really simple. He just took his spit. Everyone's got that. Some soil. Everyone's got that underneath their feet. Mixed it, made mud. Everyone can do that. Put on his eyes. Anyone can do that. You might not want to have that done to you, but anyone can do that. And go and wash in a pool. Maybe that is the most simple healing possible. He didn't, pray for 10 minutes, 10 hours or whatever. He didn't do any of these other things that sometimes we put up on ourselves. It was just simple. Simple, simple, simple. And this simplicity can often disarm our enemies. They're looking for complexity and all sorts of, how did that happen? How did this? No, it's really simple. Jesus just did it. Wonderful. And that just disarms your enemies. It's powerful and powerfully simple. So we must be ready to tell people just what God has done. Nothing more, nothing less. Keep it simple. So the last question they ask him, where is the one who did this to you? Where's the author? Where's the healer? Where's the author of the story? Where's the healer of your body, the healer? Where's the redeemer who redeemed your situation? Who is he? Tell us. And sadly, by the time this man gets his sight, Jesus has disappeared. He got his sight from Jesus, but Jesus has moved on. Jesus was a busy man. He was healing so many people. But this man has got in his heart the truth of God. He knows that Jesus, he knows his name, he knows his voice, and he knows the power of God because he can see today. Every day he wakes up, he knows the power of God is alive. And he knows this is not a dream, this is my real life, I can see. For him, It was straightforward. He was sent to wash his eyes, and he came back and he could see, but his healer had disappeared. And so he only knew his name and maybe his voice. And what was the name of this man's healer? His name was Jesus. And Jesus means Savior. And this man had certainly been saved. He'd been saved from a life of begging, of sitting on the floor, waiting for help from people he couldn't see. Maybe he had never seen his family. He had never seen his neighbors. He lived in a dark world. All he could do was hear. And now, for the first time, he saw those neighbors who had cared for him all his life. He saw his family, his friends, he saw the city, he saw the place that he'd lived in. All because of this guy called Jesus. He had turned his life upside down to the right way up. Without asking for payment, without asking for any recognition, Jesus just moved on, as was his style, his custom. And so this man gave a really honest answer. I do not know where Jesus is. They asked him, where is he? I don't know. And honesty is the best. We don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to tell white lies. Just if you don't know something, just say you don't know. Often we think we need to hide behind, complicated answers or try and make up answers to sound clever. No, you just tell the truth. If you don't know, you don't know. And that's beautiful. I would love to have people telling me just the simple truth, not something that they think is the truth or they suppose is the truth. If you don't know, just say you don't know. And often we don't know what Jesus has done. Often what he does is a mystery, or what he doesn't do. Often there's a waiting, there's a patience, there's faith. And to give an explanation, maybe it's too much. Maybe we just say, I don't know. I'm waiting on God. I don't have the full story. It's a mystery why I wasn't healed, why he was healed, why she wasn't healed, why he was healed, why he died, why he was raised to life, why he's saved and he isn't saved. I don't know, but Jesus does. Let's go ask him. So are you holding out for a miracle in your life today? Are you like this man, seated on the floor, seated in one position? You can't move on. You can't go backwards. You can't go forward. You're just waiting for something to happen in your life. Would Jesus come? Would you receive him by faith? Would you go to that pool that he sends you to? Would you wash your face and come back to him seeing? Would you listen to his voice? And have you received his mercy? In some way, in any way in your life, have you got anything to thank God for today? Have you received mercy? Have you received anything from the hand of God? Have you got a story to tell? Have you got a way to encourage anyone in your life because God has been good to you? I'd encourage you to tell your story, to be a light on a hill, to be a city set on a hill so that everyone can see. Are you prepared to give a simple explanation, factual, earthy, just in your own words, truthful story of what God has done to you? I'd encourage you to do that. Lord, I just pray for people who are listening to this. Would they just remind themselves of your goodness, your faithfulness, the wonder of who you are and who you have been throughout their lives, the way that you faithfully helped them, you faithfully healed and satisfied them and provided for them. I pray for a gushing forth of stories of your grace, because each one of us is a monument of your mercy. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.